Leeds, a bustling city in West Yorkshire with an 800-year history, more renowned for its shopping culture and nightlife. But is there another side to this vibrant city?
I don't quite believe in ghosts, but I'm open to the concept.
Well, I've seen it once. It was very mischievous. It used to play tricks on us, switch the kettle on, put the fire on.
This one time, like my mate's got a flat in Headingley, and he said that a few of them had stayed over there this one time, and they like heard these noises. They were in the room, they were in the sleeping bags, and apparently like they'd woken up in the middle of the night and they'd heard like the sleeping bags unzip.
I got my convinced herself she was very nutty, but it was actually the ghost. It went for a while and it came back.
Yeah, I reckon there is some supernatural shit going on in Leeds. Definitely. Why not? There's quite an old city, there's old buildings, so...
And then like someone running down the stairs, and then they went downstairs to check and the front door was like wide open, but there was like no sign that anyone had been in the house.
I don't. And the reason for that is, I've never seen my mother-in-law since she died 5 years ago.
I'll be your host, Brendan Lewins, and I'm inviting you to join me on a journey throughout Leeds, where we'll be both posing and hopefully answering the question, is Leeds more supernatural than we'd have thought?
Well, we do paranormal investigations in buildings all across the country, from Scotland to Wales, Liverpool over to Hull, and today we're at Temple Newsome in Leeds.
Is it a passion, like a hobby to do this, or is it just simply a job?
It is a limited company, but it is a passion. It is something we've done for quite a few years now. It's something we totally enjoy, making spirit communication.
If it came to my marriage or a ghost hunt, I think the ghost hunt would win.
Yeah.
Sorry.
It's okay.
Do you mind specifically telling us when it is you started doing these ghost walks?
It's about 10 years ago, weren't it?
Yes.
And they're slightly bit more than walks, they're actually investigations,
right,
where you attempt old Victorian seances, like the table tipping, the Ouija boards. We also use a whole host of electrical equipment as well,
yeah,
in its quest for spirit communication, basically.
Do you guys have any stories relating to Temple Newsome?
As on an investigation basis, we've had some really good activity over the years, ranging from the glasswork, table work as well we've had, and we've had incarnate voices which have been picked up through what we use as sound enhancers. So I think someone's heard children's voices on an investigation while using them.
So is this a bit of a hotspot in Leeds then?
Can be, yes, yeah. Again, it's all down to the energies that we push out for the spirits to communicate, but Temple Newsome's never really let us down at all.
Right. From one clairvoyant to the next, we talk to the more experienced Bridget Relton, who is on a temporary hiatus from ghost investigating around Leeds.
I don't see things, like I said. I'm sentient, clairsentient, which means I feel things, I hear things up here and see things up here, and sometimes I don't believe them myself. I say them. So I think it's not a case of where is most haunted, it's just a case of what there is around, and there's things in every place. I have carried out investigations in various places for sort of paranormal activities and so on. The main one in Leeds being the Grand Theatre prior to its refurbishment. There's a lot of things going on there. One thing we do always ask is that nobody tells us anything that they know about prior to going in, and also the fact that we do no investigation, because there's a lot of things recorded all over the place. There were a couple of things that came out while we were there. There was one story, one thing that came, which was a gentleman in the fly room where they dropped the scenery at the back, and they used to use ropes on that, and I felt that he had been what we call degloved. The rope had wrapped itself round his arm so tightly, and then as it went, it took all the skin, muscle and everything from his arm. We found out later that there was an assistant manager there who only had one arm, and that was rumoured that he had actually lost his arm in an accident in the Grand, and we thought that it was possibly him. Another one is in one of the corridors that leads to a back room, where walking down the corridor, and it was just like somebody stood beside me and pushed me, and it was something to do with white and yellow lines. And one of the theatre managers was suffering from OCD, and he used to get the handyman every week or every day to paint a white line and a yellow line. You went into his office along the white line and out along the yellow line. And if you didn't walk on the right side of it, if the handyman saw you, he used to give you a shove. That was him giving me a push to make sure I walked on the right side. There are an awful lot of other stories that are at the Grand. It's quite an interesting theatre, to be quite honest. And I was just leaning against a wall and suddenly felt just like somebody went through me and ran off in one direction. And I sort of thought, hang on a minute. I said, there's a door, should have been a door here. And one of the women there said, no, never been a door there. I said, yeah, there was an entrance or an exit from this part of the circle. No, I can prove it. And she said, I will do, and we go back and have a break. So we went back to an office to have a break, and she came back with a picture of the back of the theatre as built, pencil drawing. And there, right in the middle, was a door, and she had the picture on a wall for 8 years and never realised there was actually a door in the back, and it was exactly where I was stood. So, I mean, people don't assume Leeds as what they call as paranormal capital. Everybody thinks of York when it comes to Yorkshire and things like that. But no matter where you go, there are things around.
Bridget gave us the details of Ken Gore, author of Haunted Leeds. He takes people on walks around Leeds telling stories he's heard over the years. We caught up with Ken at Reds by the Corn Exchange to join one of his walks.
Right, let's get on to this place now. That's the reason we've come over here. This place, just here. But what freaked the staff out here was, every member of staff, all the lasses that worked there, felt that they'd been strangled by unseen hands. They could feel something gripping on the necks. So they gave the management the ultimatum, either relocate somewhere else and we'll go with you, stop here, you're looking for new staff. So to keep the staff, the firm relocated. The Red Lion pub, just over Leeds Bridge on the right hand side. It was the Wakefield branch of the Yorkshire Pagan Society, who also had a Leeds branch. They used to have their meetings there. They all sat in a circle, and one lass screamed, like a spot of blood on the back of her hand, which she said had come down and just landed on the back of her hand. But the ceiling was solid, it couldn't come from anywhere. They wiped the blood off, thinking she cut herself, it was bubbling up, not a mark on anything. A bit after that, there was a wrenching noise, and one of the speakers fell off the wall and landed at Bidnell. So that was all in one night at the Red Lion.
Finally, we head to Dewsbury Town Hall to rejoin the Simply Ghosts team, who give us an insight into how paranormal investigations work. First, they walk us through the equipment.
Hi guys. What you see on the table is just a small sample of some of the equipment that we got that you guys will be able to use tonight. Just run through it real quickly. But again, for you guys that have heard it all before, tough, it's not changed. This is a K2 meter, so if you've watched Most Haunted, Ghost Hunters, this measures EMFs, electromagnetic fields, and basically what we'll do is ask spirit to come towards the green light and change the green light from green to amber, green to red, just to show that they're here. They might change it twice for yes, once for no. These are very sensitive bits of equipment, so they'll pick up cabling, lights, and phone signals. So when we start, we'll ask you all to either turn your phones off or put them onto flight mode so it doesn't interfere with these. But once you get down in the cells and it's pitch black and you say, give us a sign that you're here, and that starts to twitch, then you know there's something in the room with us. So that's usually the first sign that you get. So we'll say we've got about 8 of these, so those will be spread around. We'll go on to these. These are proper bits of kit. Sound enhancers. Very simple, headset and a microphone. And what you do, you put these on. You'll be able to hear things that you can't hear with just normal hearing. They magnify sound by about 50 times. So when we start calling out for a spirit and we say, copy this, you might be able to hear them tapping back on the table when we can't. So what we will ask is, if you're wearing these and you hear any tapping, any noises at all, tell the team, because we might be merrily tapping away, asking them to repeat it. They're tapping back like hell and we can't hear them. So if you've got these on, please tell us. Hopefully you will also hear footsteps, disembodied voices, moans, groans, door slams. These are ghost boxes or Frank's box. These are basically a radio frequency scanner. Just bob up and down radio frequencies, and we experiment with what's called the white noise phenomenon, where basically we'll talk and we'll ask spirit to speak back through the static, effectively, that you hear in the background. Again, fantastic results we've had, certainly at Ripon Workhouse, where there's a very unsavoury character, sits in one of the rooms. Normally we turn this on and say, if you're in here, will you send us a message? And the first thing he tells us to do is right off. And it goes downhill from there, literally. The guy is incredibly abusive, as the guys on the table back there will verify. But as I said, this is a radio frequency scanner. It's not a transmitter. We can't affect it. We can't send any messages on it. So you've got to ask yourself the question, if this guy's swearing, bearing in mind it's illegal to swear on the radio in the UK, where are the words coming from?
Rosie and Stuart then brief us about what to expect.
We do find that the groups that laugh the loudest and have the most fun, they do get the most activity. There is areas in this place, and I'm not going to tell you what them areas are. They freak people out. And there's areas where you might think feels all right, feels nice, but then it might take you by surprise. All I'm saying is try and keep open-minded. Do we have any skeptics in tonight? Ooh, one.
Just the one.
So you'll not be afraid to do a lone vigil down in the cells or something like that?
With the sound enhancers and a K2 and night vision goggles all there for you to use. As a skeptic then, or how you describe yourself as a skeptic?
All eyes on you.
Yeah. All cameras as well, by the way.
Would you say you're an open-minded skeptic? You're just wanting something.
That's what, yeah.
We then head downstairs to the main hall to take part in the investigation.
Right, okay, we're calling out to any spirit people in this area with us. Could you please try and copy this noise? You do one of your famous whistles, Jed?
Can you copy this?
Can you affect the green light on the table, please? Or touch somebody?
Asking any spirits in the room to please come forward, come in there, slap me on the head. I'm the one with the bow then, please. Please come forward. Thanks. Yeah.
Were you getting something a minute ago, Lee? You and that lady?
Yeah, we're getting cold spot.
Yeah, I am.
Cold breeze.
Sometimes with ghost investigations, you run the risk of leaving empty-handed. Unfortunately, tonight, this was our outcome. Leeds, perhaps surprisingly, is a place surrounded with paranormal activity. If you're ever in the area, ask yourself, is Leeds more supernatural than we'd have thought? I've been your host, Brendan Lewins, and this has been Supernatural Leeds. Thanks for watching.